All right, Lobliner Lowdown. I am on site here in Arizona. Arizona, it's like 900 degrees outside. I don't even need to go in the sauna. It's so damn hot outside. So I'm here with U.S. Congress candidate Josh Barnett. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's up, man? It's definitely a little warm even for me today. It's about 90, but wait till it gets about 115
Yeah, I'll wait.
consistently.
I'll be waiting in Nashville for that. I mean,
It'll only get you here in the wintertime, you know.
this is about as hot as it gets where I live
Yeah.
right now, and it's March, April.
Yeah,
like that's what's crazy.
This just getting warmed up.
So what's really cool is that you're a legit. You're not like one of those weird guys like write in Kanye on your presidential ballot. You're a legit candidate for Congress. I think you have probability odds are on the side of you winning from what I can see. And we're doing this interview from a Metroflex gym.
Yeah.
So what I've seen is that the bodybuilding community, from Phil Heath to many others, it's almost like it reeks, and reeks is a horrible word. It's almost like we have embedded conservatism within our bodies. Why the hell are you running for Congress? Because I was thinking of running, but I don't want any of the smoke that comes with running.
Yeah.
What made you decide to run for Congress?
For me, some of the top things were the amount of corruption we see. You know, the amount of corruption we see drives me absolutely insane. And then not only that, but you have a country that's getting torn apart. You know, culturally, it's getting torn apart in our schools. It's getting torn apart our border. You know, these foreign wars that we're now in again. You know, we didn't have this under Trump. You know, and that's what people say about Trump, about his personality, or they don't like him. I don't care. All I know is that we didn't have wars under Trump. Actually, we pulled out of wars, and we had a more secure border. Right, it was getting more secure at the time. So, you know, and we had lower taxes, which is always good because Biden's trying to raise the corporate tax again. So, you know, that's going to make people want to leave the country again and put their business elsewhere. So, but yeah, no, there is a lot of bodybuilders, and I think it goes with work ethic. I think conservatism for me goes with work ethic as well. And I'm not saying every liberal out there, every Democrat out there has no work ethic. That's not true.
I'm saying it.
But in general, it's true. And that's just a fact. It's true. And a lot of bodybuilders that are out there, from bikini girls to top bodybuilders in the world, you know, you have to have a good work ethic typically, right? You got to have great genetics, but you got to have that work ethic to go with if you want to be something in the sport. And that comes from your diet, how you know, every morning you get up and it's the same thing every day. You know what I mean? It's like Groundhog Day.
Yes.
You're training, you can't miss training, you can't miss cardio. So it's that dedication that I think that's kind of in every bodybuilder out there that's even at the state level decent, that has that in them, you know. And it seems that those people, those types of personalities, are conservative in general. A lot of them, I think, are kind of libertarian socially. You know, I can definitely be like that, but I think as far as financially and how they look at the country, a lot of people are conservatives. You know, at least the ones I know, and I know a lot of, you know, a lot of them. I know a lot of them. They definitely lean that way.
I think you're absolutely right when it comes to the fitness industry. Now, one of the reasons I decided not to run, I like using myself because I love my country. I'm a first-generation American. I love my country. Love it. America is the greatest place on earth. One thing I was really afraid of is the smearing. And you saw what they did, just lying. Just look at the Russian stuff, Russiagate, right?
Yeah.
Look at all this stuff, and they just make stuff up. And they say it over and over, the Don't Say Gay bill, which, by the way, that's not the bill.
Never said the word gay.
Nobody's read the bill. It's about not basically having a teacher be able to just carte blanche, talk to your kids about things, sex, and other matters of that nature at 5 years old, basically.
Yeah.
So it's basically parental rights. Has nothing to do with gay people.
No.
Has to do with straight, gay, whatever you're, just don't talk about sex with my 5-year-old.
Don't sexualize children. I mean, that's just, to me, I mean, why would you not want that to happen?
So you see how they can falsely represent somebody. Yeah. So you're in a bodybuilding world, Metroflex gym. Are you afraid, or have you already witnessed them dragging? Because my thing was, I'm going to be Roid Boy, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. And you saw what they did even when Arnold ran in California, right? Like, what have you noticed? Are you afraid of what's going to happen as far as your family's concerned and them bringing stuff up or even making stuff up? Either.
Well, they'll make stuff up. You know what I mean? I already know. And it is what it is, because if the way I look at it, if we don't get good people to run, then we're not going to take our country back.
No.
It's just going to continue, and that's what they thrive on, is that fear, right? They thrive on that fear of they're going to make this up about me, they're going to make up this about me, you know. And I'm not going to live in fear, and I'm not going to live and somebody, oh well, he did this 20 years ago, you know. I'm not going to live in fear like that. And if there's something I did, then I'm going to own it, you know. Because here I look at it like this with people in general. If you do something once and it's stupid, and you correct it, you never do it again, you learn from that mistake,
yes.
right? But you do it again, now you're stupid. So I always look at people, I give everybody a chance to be like, hey, somebody did this in their past, or somebody did this in their past, and I'll look at it, okay, did they ever do it again? I look at it, did it ever happen again? No? Okay, well, that person learned from their mistake and they moved on, you know? And I always tell people that these liberals out there in the media, look in the mirror. Right, because I have a couple PIs here that used to be XPD that train here, you know.
Yeah.
And they were kind of joking with this. Hey, any of the media messing with you, just let me know, and I'll dig into their background, all the way since they were born. And I kind of laughed, and I go, you know what? You know what's kind of funny? Can you imagine if you had a writer from CNN or somebody, or you know, somebody like trying to make stuff up and do stuff about you, and you're like, hey, my PI is going to go ahead and dig into you now, and everything you've ever done. Do you think you're going to like that? And pick out every little thing you've ever done, you know, and you can literally do that about anybody, literally anybody, because no one's perfect.
No.
And so you're gonna find, oh, this person did this, and there's different levels of bad, I guess, you know what I mean. But I figure, you know, the worst case scenario, you know, people say about me, like my stance on abortion. It's like if one of the worst things you can say about me is that I don't want people to murder babies, then so be it. So, and that's just my attitude about a lot of things. If that's the worst you can say about me, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
Because no one's perfect. Because you can literally dig it. I mean, everybody I know has done something stupid somewhere along the line. But, you know, I look at it as, did they learn from it or did they not? And most of these politicians, you can say no. They did not learn from their mistakes. They continue to do it. And we continue electing the same clowns in office. And we have the same problems over and over and over again. But we need good people running and not be scared. You know, just get out there and do it. You know, I mean, that's literally what I ended up doing eventually. As I was in the grassroots movement, I was doing a lot of stuff related to helping the people of Arizona and around the country. And it just came to a point where, you know, I realized, yeah, we could do a lot as the people, but we need someone on the inside fighting for us too. And we only have a handful of people on the inside fighting for the people. Now, that's what I want to do, is have that relationship with my people in my district and the state of Arizona, and with a good, solid governor, which Carrie Lake supports me, I support her, to, you know, have that good relationship between the federal and the state, that we can fight kind of together, and anything that we can't handle at the federal, that she'll take over and take care of at the state level, and have that good relationship, you know. And I think even that with the state legislature as well, you know, the good people in the state legislature, that we can kind of combine forces. We have a Freedom Caucus now set up in the state legislature here.
Okay.
So that's going to help kind of show people, hey, these are legitimate conservatives. You know what I mean? The ones that aren't in this, you might want to question. You know, so we're doing things a little bit different in Arizona, and we're kind of trying to get ahead of the game as far as keeping this state red. We truly are red. And keeping this state conservative, and I think you're going to see that come upcoming election, that we're going to extend our lead at the House and Senate level here at the state level. We're going to get Carrie Lake elected governor. She'll be the most conservative governor we've ever had. And then, you know, I believe we could go 6-3 in the U.S. Congress here in Arizona. It's 5-4 Democrat.
Really?
In Arizona.
Wow.
And now we're going to flip it 6-3 Republican, maybe 7-2. So they're talking 6-3 for sure. And we're going to do it because the American people are sick and tired of the liberal agenda, the crazy agenda on the left that everybody knows about, everybody's out there. Nothing they do works. They do everything wrong, literally, from foreign policy to the border, to allowing men to compete in women's sports, to, I mean, you name it. They do everything wrong. And the American people are seeing it. And the independents out there, like we were talking earlier, those independents out there that are fed up with both parties, I get it. But a lot of the independents are seeing it, like a stark contrast between Trump's policies, the America First policies, and what's going on now. And they don't want you don't want to pay $5 a gallon of gas. No. So let's get it fixed. Let's get, you know, American energy. Let's unleash it. Let's make it cleaner. I'm not naive to the fact that we need to be greener. We need to continue, but we have technology that can clean up gas. There's actually carbon-free gas out there. There's ways of fracking now that can make the water food grade drinkable. There's nuclear. We need to expand nuclear. I've been saying that for a long time.
God, yeah.
It's the cleanest
form of
yes.
Wow, it is the cleanest form of energy by far.
But they never talk about it. So I only look at Democrats. If you're serious about being green, but they never talk about nuclear energy, ever.
But they'll talk about a damn electric car that costs $60,000, saves you $80 a month in gas. And by the way, where does the damn electricity come from right now? Fossil fuels. So instead of polluting on the highway, you're polluting in a plant.
Yeah.
It's the problem I have with liberals nowadays, they're very point A thinkers. Whereas they don't think about the consequences and repercussions for what happens. Cool. Electric cars. They don't burn gas. Cool. Where does the electricity come from? We don't have enough wind turbines.
Where do the batteries come from?
The batteries come from slave labor.
You're mining lithium, and we just gave up a huge lithium deposits in Afghanistan, and guess who came in and swept it all up? China. It's insane. Like what Biden does and his administration. I mean, on many levels. Like we talked about the electric, and then where do you charge it, right? And then okay, so we have that issue, but there's rolling blackouts in California. How are you going to charge your car?
That's another thing. There's literally you can't water your lawn.
Yeah.
Or else you get fined.
Yeah. And
now they want us to drive electric cars. And also, the average American can't afford a $600 bill. No. 80% of Americans can't afford an unexpected $600 bill. Mm-hmm. And where do they want us to get the $60,000 for the cheapest electric car out? Mm-hmm. It's just not feasible. It's not feasible at all. So, and it also puts power in other hands, which leads me to a segue, since it's the hottest thing out right now. What the hell should we do in Ukraine? What do you think? Like, if you were Biden, oh God, if you were in charge.
You got any pudding? We can eat pudding together?
If you were in charge, what should we do with that? Because if you say anything to the contrary of the narrative, they're very brilliant at this. In that, if I say, you know what, I really don't think we should lock down. Well, that's because you're a white supremacist. Yeah. It makes no sense. Yeah. But what they do is and that forces you to go, well, I'm not a white supremacist. And then you forget that you just said you shouldn't lock down, so you can't back. It's very brilliant. Yeah. So if I say, look, we literally have veterans starving and dying on the streets. Why did we give $16 billion and just gave another $500 million to the Ukraine, a country that, is someone of Jewish descent, and also as someone who has Russian Jews in his family? They literally have a battalion full of Nazis who commit war crimes. Yet, if we talk about that, we get blocked and banned. You two might even ban me for saying that, but it's literally a known fact. They're not denying it. Yeah. The spokesperson for Zelensky, right? He came out and he's like, "Hey, we need to stop torturing people, bro. It's literally happening." Yeah. What do we do with Ukraine? We have to do something, right? What do we do?
I'm a kind of a Ron Paul. I come from that kind of mindset, right? Yeah. And what would Ron Paul do? Ron Paul would say, no troops on the ground. Don't send cash. You don't send cash to the most corrupt nation on earth, or one of them.
Well, but that's where he's getting his money.
Yeah. It's a payoff.
Isn't it ironic how the country that literally Biden got someone fired for investigating his son's slush fund.
You're not going to get that $1 billion if you don't stop that, right?
Yeah. So, they are corrupt. So, we have the Russian thing, we have the whole Ukraine thing, and I agree. I'm an America First isolationist, especially in situations like this, because it provides no imminent danger. Now, the argument was, should we have been America First when Hitler was killing all those people? So, how do you answer that question?
I think we can. I think we can be involved without having any of our people there. So I'm not opposed to sending weapons to help a country fight their own fight, right? I'm not opposed to the MiGs getting sent, from Poland to them to be used, and then we make a deal with Poland, for some new jets or whatever they want. I'm not opposed to doing something like that, but I am opposed to sending cash to the most corrupt nation on earth, or one of them. And that's my big thing is not one troop should die there, not one American troop should die there. and no cash should be sent there, period. If they want weapons, give them weapons. But we could have given them the $84 billion worth of weapons we left in Afghanistan. That could have been used there too.
$84 billion?
$84 billion worth of equipment. And now, was it all operable at the time? Maybe not. But there's still a lot of equipment there that we could have given to them, literally. But like, people don't understand what's happening in Ukraine. Like, you brought up a few things. As the Azov, I think, is the organization, the neo-Nazi organization in Ukraine, has been going back and forth. I think the territory is Donetsk, or however you pronounce it. They've been bombing them, and they've been killing each other since 2014.
Yeah.
So this isn't new. This is ongoing, and this is literally a neo-Nazi organization within the Ukraine parliament and within the Ukraine military. So this is like the liberals are always going crazy about neo-Nazis, even though no one here is a neo-Nazi, nobody I know. But there's actual neo-Nazis, and they're like, oh, we need to support Zelensky. And you're like, you understand, not Zelensky, but you understand that portion of the military is literally neo-Nazis. But nobody wants to look into the actual truth of the information. I just feel that the United States, and right now currently, should supply military aid and weapons to Ukraine to fight their own fight. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But sending the 14, 15, 16 billion and then some, they didn't want to secure our border with that money. They're worried about Ukraine's border, but not our southern border, right? We could have finished that wall with $15 billion.
Wasn't it 6? I think was the budget for it at one point. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was 6.
Yeah, it was.
And obviously I'm the son of a legal immigrant, so I'm obviously pro-immigration.
Yeah. So
you're in Arizona, a lot different from Tennessee. What effects of this open border policy are you seeing here?
I haven't seen a lot outside of what you brought up with the homeless vets, right? So we know we got vets on the streets in every city in this country.
Yes.
And right here in Scottsdale, in my district, there's a hotel there. And they've been housing these illegal immigrants in this nice hotel. They're putting up in hotels. And we got vets on the streets. It just doesn't make nothing they do, they meaning the Democrat Party, nothing they do makes sense. And they have these bleeding heart liberals, right? I know a few of them. And I'm like, what about the vets on the street? Why are we taking in more people than we can't even take care of our own? It doesn't make any sense. And nothing they do makes sense. Like you said, if you look at it past point A, it doesn't make any sense. I'm not against helping people, but you got to help your own first. It's like on an airplane. Like, the oxygen comes in, you put it on you first to then assist others, right? Because if you pass out, you can't help anybody.
Yeah.
Right now, we're passing out, and they're just running amok and doing whatever they want.
Yeah. So what do we do with the border? Do we build the wall? Do we?
100%, absolutely, we build the wall. All the bells and whistles on it, because it's not just the wall itself, right? It's a deterrent. It's deep and it has ground penetrating radar on it. We have cameras on it. We have vibration technology, so they try to saw through it. It slows them down to give Border Patrol time to apprehend them, right? That's one of the major things that I'm told when I talk to Border Patrol or my guy Tim Foley down on the border. That's what it does. So it's not just the wall itself. That is because it's an all-encompassing, I guess, program, if you want to call it. Because we understand, some people get through, but under Trump, when that wall was being built and we had it somewhat secure, it was not happening. Hundreds of thousands of people are coming through. 2 million people have come through into our country, unvaxxed. Again, the Democrats, they what did you get vaccinated? You lose your job. But they're letting 2 million people come through unvaccinated, no masks, into our country, but you're going to lose your job if you don't get vaccinated.
So that gets a good point, which we're going to have to be careful skating words because YouTube.
Yeah, I got kicked off. I got deleted 2 weeks ago. So I'll try to be mindful.
Yeah, basically, I think we've already beat this with a dead horse. Everybody knows where I stand. I'm anti-hindering one's life for anything.
Yeah.
Freedoms do not. There's nothing in the Constitution that says our freedoms can be revoked in the event of an airborne virus.
Yeah.
And I think that's enough to say. I think we go without saying we're both anti-mandate. I'm vehemently anti-mandate.
Me too.
That's where I draw the line, and I lost millions of dollars in a deal with Kroger because of those mandates. Because I refuse to I refuse to play ball like that.
Yeah.
Because what they did, and theirs isn't even really a mandate. They're giving a surcharge for the unV'd people, which I think is discrimination, which is a whole nother ball game. Which brings me up to the Supreme Court. This current nominee. I don't really care if she's purple. I don't care if she's blue. You know, there's Clarence Thomas, and the Republicans did nominate a black female before that was shut down really hard by Democrats.
Oh yeah, they went after her.
And Joe Biden is, I don't think anybody's going to deny that he's not a racist. Now, cool, he was a damn racist. Like, the dude's racist as
yeah.
And so you look at this current nominee, and my issue with her is obviously how she is on pedophiles. And I don't think she's the right person. Absolutely. And I also don't like the fact that we're literally picking somebody because of how they were born, not what they've accomplished. Yeah. And I think that's a dangerous path to go down, no matter what color or gender. But I thought gender wasn't a thing. I'm so confused.
Or color. No, when you're specifically picking somebody, like Joe Biden said, I'm going to nominate a black female. I don't give a dang what their background is, or, you know, I don't care how good this Hispanic person is, this Hispanic female, or I'm picking a black female. It's just pandering. It's pandering to the audience, and she's a terrible candidate.
Horrible candidate.
She, like you said, she literally implemented the lowest level minimums on pedophiles, and even children that were being subjected to these crazy, insane people. She gave them the bare minimum. Then she wouldn't even be able to answer what a woman is. What is a woman? She wouldn't even be able to differentiate between a man and a woman. It's the most ridiculous liberal nonsense I've ever seen. And this is going to be in our Supreme Court. She's supposed to be one of the smartest people in the country, you know, as far as law related. Then she said, I don't believe you had God-given inherent rights. And you're going to sit on the Supreme Court
scary.
And judge our Constitution, whether something's constitutional or not, and you don't believe that we have inherent God-given rights. You don't believe in the Constitution, period. If you don't believe that, you don't believe in it. You should never, she shouldn't even sit in a courtroom at the local level somewhere, let alone at the Supreme Court.
So God-given rights, First Amendment, Second Amendment, top two. Second Amendment, gun control. You see this come up every time. I'm very, I live in a constitutional carry state. Is Arizona constitutional carry? Okay. I think 24 states are now, if I'm not mistaken. 24 or 26.
My home state, Indiana, just became a constitutional carry.
So constitutional carry, for those who don't know, means that basically if you're of age and you're not a criminal, you carry a gun. Concealed. Yeah. So you don't need a permit. I have a permit, just like cross state lines, but you don't, of non-constitutional carry states. So what is on gun control? Are you a staunch Second Amendment person? Where do you think the line should be drawn? Do you think there should be gun-free zones? How does that work?
I'm very shall not be infringed means exactly that.
Perfect.
And I think gun-free zones are stupid.
It's just like a free take me sign.
Yeah, that's a target. You know what I mean? If I want to do something bad, and you got to think like a criminal. You got to think like a crazy person. Then where am I going to go? Well, I'm not going to go over here where the biker bar is.
I'm not going to the rodeo.
You know? Yeah. I'm not going to Cave Creek, anywhere in Cave Creek here. I'm going to go to the gun-free zone, you know? So it's, again, and you're not going to stop anybody who wants to do what they want to do with a gun. They're going to find a gun somewhere. It doesn't matter. And you're not going to stop people. It's kind of like drugs in a way. You're not going to stop somebody from smoking weed by a law. Nobody I know in my entire life have I met that smokes weed said, I don't smoke because it's illegal.
No, it's so easy to get.
Yeah, they don't smoke because they choose not to smoke, or they don't think it's healthy for them, or they don't, for whatever reason, you know, it's maybe a moral, biblical thing. I don't know. Whatever the reason is, they choose. It's not because of legality. That doesn't deter them. That's not what's deterring them from doing it.
Every high schooler and above have access to weed. It just is what it is. And that brings me to another one. We had recent Congress passed the decriminalization of marijuana federally. Don't know how it's going to do in the Senate. Joe Biden, who knows? He has no belief, so it's really hard to know what he's going to be. Yeah. He'll be whatever his masters tell him to be. Yeah. So my question is, it's split down the party lines. Republicans, overwhelmingly, I think with 4 defectors, one being Matt Gaetz, said, nah, weed's not good. Keep it illegal. So the Democrats essentially, they won the day there. Because all Republicans had to do is be like, yep, we're good with it. I think it just paints us, and I say us because I'm an independent, but I vote all Republican, not because I like Republicans, because Democrats have become trash. They become communists.
Yeah.
And that's not saying if you're a Democrat, you're a piece of trash. I just want you to look at the issue by issue and what your beliefs are, and you'll probably come to the same conclusion I have if you have a brain. If not,
a functioning
vote
brain.
for Pelosi.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is, talk about a stupid move on the part of the Republicans. They were set up. They did a horrible job. Horrible job. Now, if you were there, would you have joined Gates? Or would you have toed the party line? And why the hell would the Republicans vote against it if they're about personal choice?
I would have joined Gates. And the reason why is exactly what I said. And here's another thing, though. And it could have been something in that bill. I haven't read through the entire bill.
They sneak stuff in bills. You got to remember that.
For example, the regulation of it. So I would have been like, hey, this bill's fine. I'm okay with the decriminalization of it. I'm okay with this stuff, but I don't want it regulated. I don't want the federal government taking tax money off it.
Yeah.
So basically what they're saying is it's okay to do it as long as we tax it and make money off it. So again, the hypocrisy of our federal government.
Yes.
So we're gonna regulate this. We're gonna make it okay now, but cigarettes are fine.
Well, here's the problem though. Like, that's always been going on. Gambling is illegal unless it's the lottery, right? And we're gonna give it to schools, and no school's got any of that money.
All about money.
So the problem is we're a country that does not. We're not based on morals or any ethical compass anymore.
No.
What we're based on is donors.
Yeah.
And it's based on who gets the money. Well, the lottery is when I really realized as a kid that it's all a bunch of bullshit, because they're not allowing casinos to open, yet grandma can go spend $100 on the pick 5, and that's okay. And where's the difference between scratching a scratcher and pulling a slot machine?
There's no difference.
There's no difference. It's gambling. So I never that's where I understood, okay. And now they realize from California to Colorado, the windfall of revenue they have coming in. Like, we have people from Tennessee driving up to Illinois.
Yeah.
But then again, here's the thing. Did you know this? I just found this out in California because I have a buddy who owns a dispensary. And by the way, I have a great story about trying I've never smoked weed in my life, but I did try an edible. And I took too much. And I got on a flight, and I was high as fuck. I was paranoid. So I land, and my daughter's high school soccer banquet was that night. And so I told my buddy, I'm like, dude, his name's James. I said, James, I'm high as fuck right now. He's like, how are you high as fuck? I'm like, I'm high as fuck. I ate an edible, got on the flight. I'm just high now. I'm like, you got to keep me in check. I don't know what's going to happen. So like, they did the whole date dinner, and then they were going to go inside and show the highlight video. So James made the highlight video. And he's showing it. There was one, and I cry over shit anyway. Like, I'm a crybaby. Yeah. So, I'm watching. I feel myself tearing up. He's like, oh, you're going to love this one. It was Cammy's district champion winning goal with 20 seconds left in the second overtime, about to go to PKs. Yeah. And I start ugly crying. He's like, dude, you got to get the fuck out of here. And everybody starts coming in. I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom. Looking at you. So, you crying? No. No, but it was. Let me just say this. Weed's not for me. Edibles aren't for me. Yeah. And maybe I overdid it, but it's not my thing. So, back to the point,
But I'm very much in a sense of it. Really, with anything, to be honest with you, if that's what that person decides to do, for their own personal choice and their own freedom.
So you're more of a libertarian.
I'm very libertarian with certain things. I truly am. I don't think that I should push my values on somebody else.
Okay. So what about abortion?
Well, abortion is not that.
Okay.
Abortion's a separate entity. It's a second body in there that I'm going to be a voice for. So that, the whole my body, my choice is not your body.
No.
It's two bodies.
Okay.
Just like a double homicide on a pregnancy.
If you get in a car accident with a pregnant person and both of them die, it's double homicide.
The obituary is going to say two people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's going to show. And that's what it, that's where I draw the line, with that. Otherwise, outside of that, your choices you make in life for me are the same as anybody. It's whether you drink or not, right? If you drink and drive or not, whether you smoke weed or you don't, whether you do, you get addicted to pain pills or what, you know what I mean? And that's another thing with weed medically. I would much rather have somebody use marijuana for pain, right? Versus popping opioids all day.
So here's the thing
Because
about
I've
the
seen
taxes.
people get addicted to that crap.
This is where I was going before I got sidetracked. I think I'm high now. Is the black market for marijuana has gone up exponentially. So the law actually, and I don't know if this is correct, but I heard this from a decently credible source, someone who would know. So because weed is so expensive, people are going to the black market because they've taxed, I think it was like, somebody showed me a receipt, somebody posted it when they first made it legal in Illinois. It was like $80 for like a nickel sack.
Yeah.
And I mean, back in the day, a nickel sack was called a nickel sack because it cost $5.
Yeah.
And then you had a dime sack for 10.
I got 5 on it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I thought it was really hysterical how the law actually legalizing it actually brought up the black market for it, which is an unintended consequence. Yeah. And also maybe people saw it being legal. They're like, well, this has to be safe, right? Like it's legal now.
There's an education thing that goes on with any drug, right? And I think if you do there has in the high levels of THC. So you got stuff that I learned called shatter. It's like 90% THC or something. And it messes people. I've seen it, literally somebody I know, mess to the point we had to intervene.
Really?
I had to intervene, and we literally had them come and take him away. And as soon as he got out, as soon as they put him, the straight jack literally took him away.
So there's different levels of it.
I've seen it really mess somebody up. That's where the education comes in. And that's, like you said, it's not just because something's legal mean, oh, it's good for me now. Like, cocaine's legal, let me go do cocaine now. It's an education thing that people got to understand that just because something's legal, or it's the same with me. If you do something and I'm just like, I don't care, but I don't condone it. So I don't have to condone the act. It's just like if somebody's like, hey, gay marriage or something, I'm like, does it affect me? Does it really affect me at all? I'm not condoning it. I'm just, does it really affect me? Does it really affect the, now you could argue that it affects the patriarch, the family, that type of thing.
Is that really a government thing, though?
The government should not be interfering. That's my point.
For me, I'm anti-marriage.
Yeah.
And I've been married for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so marriage to me is between a church and a couple, or between whatever your ordained ministry is. So I don't believe that even straight marriage, I don't believe marriage should be a government thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't believe at all. So for me, gay marriage is just as much of a farce as straight marriage. Why should I have to go to the friggin' city or the state and get permission to marry somebody?
Can I have permission from you, right?
I shouldn't ask permission. I'm a free man.
Yeah, like we keep doing this all the time, and we talked a little bit about this earlier.
Yeah.
It all comes down to who has all political power. Who has authority, constitutional authority? The people do. Why are we asking our government to do anything?
So that's the question. We just got through a huge period of time where people were literally cucked by the government.
Yeah.
People stayed in their house. There's still liberals locked up with a mask on in some house in New York. Okay, I had a woman double masking at First Watch Day. How the hell you breathe in Arizona with 2 masks on? These people are heroes. And I don't think I think their lungs are dying very slowly.
They're shriveling up.
The amount of psychological damage done to adults and children. You have children who will never speak correctly because they weren't able to watch their teacher mouth the words. And then their idiot parents probably had more masks at home.
Yeah.
Okay, we're in a situation where we have literally, the government has psyoped us into thinking that we do not have the right to liberty and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
And Will Smith movie without the Chris Rock slap,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the pursuit of happiness, liberty, freedom, it's gone. Most people think they have to ask permission to leave their house. I was one of them. The first 2 weeks of this pandemic, I was like, dude, if I drive, because I had a buddy who opened up a soccer facility for us. And I was like, man, if we get pulled over by the cops, I got outright bars in the back and they're essential foods. I'm like, tell the cop to go fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm going to go train.
Yeah.
Like, when do I have to ask now? For me, and I hope everybody else, I'm starting to scream and the audio guys get mad at me. So I'm getting excited. I hope everybody else goes through the enlightenment that I went through. And that is, I am an American, I am an individual, and leaving my house and being free and not hurting other people is not committing a crime. Breathing air is not committing a crime. Being free, playing sports, going to school, that is not committing a crime. And if we did what was the right thing, which is to take care and protect those who are sick and vulnerable, and let the other ones go out, and the studies have shown without a shadow of a doubt that I was right from the beginning. I got shadow banned on YouTube for talking about vitamin D in April of 2020.
Yep.
And my shadow ban is still messing me up.
Yep.
Still messed up my channel. People are like, how do you have 400,000 subscribers and not that many views? I'm like, I would say it, but I'll get banned again. You know, so we were right. The meathead community was right. The gyms were right. All of us were right. And what about Florida, Tennessee, Texas? We had better rates than New York, than California, than Massachusetts. And we did everything they said we shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Tennessee never had mandates.
Yeah.
Never had mandates.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just absolutely insane how they're still, with all the numbers out, they're still like, well, the reason the numbers are going, because there's a slight spike, is because people aren't wearing masks anymore. I'm like, what about the last spike? You idiots. I just can't take it. I can't. And the doctors are the problem. These doctors are, I'm staying in a hotel right now, and there's like some medical, they're wearing masks around the hotel. These are our medical professionals, because they're in the educational system, which is indoctrinated into them in this stupid liberal philosophy of being scared of air.
Yeah. It's insane. I'm
These are young, healthy doctors.
Yeah, I'm friends with like a lot of the frontline doctors, right? And
they're awesome.
And they've been screaming the same stuff we have since March 2020. Prophylactic treatment, early onset treatment, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, and of course I won't say the two, but the two.
The I word.
Yeah.
So they did a study on the I word, and it came out, it didn't work. Here's the problem. The I word doesn't work on its own. It has to be taken with, so what the I word is.
The bullet in a gun, right? The zinc?
Well, the I word and the hydroxy word, they're ionophores.
Yes.
And without the actual anti or viral defense, we'll say, a viral defense like vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And these were horribly ran studies. They weren't caught early enough, and they weren't using the other forms of treatment. So everybody's dunking on this, and nobody read the study. And by the way, the study's not even published yet. It's just...
or they're using the incorrect amounts, too. I noticed a few of the studies are using not enough at all. And the other ones were I think one in Brazil a long time ago was like 4 or 5 times what it was supposed to be. And people died from it. And you're like, well, yeah, you took 5 times more than you're supposed to.
Brazilians are hardcore like that.
It's like you're supposed to use 400 milligrams and you're using like 1,500 milligrams or whatever it was, and then you wonder why they had problems, But again, these frontline doctors have been dead on right from day one. From day one they've been on. Dr. Urso, who I talk with the most, Dr. Farella, Dr. Zelenko, who's been everywhere.
Oh, he's the dude.
These guys have been on from day one, and there is a trial, guys, out there. I don't know if you got to see it. There's a grand jury. There's a trial going on, crimes against humanity.
Really?
And there's videos. I've watched one of the videos. I watched one of the days as a 5-hour long grand jury trial, and I watched the whole thing. I couldn't stop watching it because the people that were coming out, the stories that were being told, the information that was being given. You're like, oh my God, I was right. I was right all about this from day one. And I've always said this is crimes against humanity, what's going on. Because they're now allowing certain things to be used. They're literally either lawfully trying to force you not to use it or suppressing it so much and make you take something that should be a choice.
It should be a choice. And I mean, I have so many stories about this, but here's what I see, and I want to know your opinion. I actually think if you look at the 70s, late 70s, we had Carter, then Reagan, then Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, whatever the hell we have now. Whoever's in charge now. It's not the
potato brain.
It's whoever the hell is telling him what to do, and hopefully someone's telling So, I actually think America is going to be in the middle of the greatest comeback and renaissance in the history of the country. And I think that what has happened, sometimes people have it too good. And I think we're so spoiled in America, we got to sleep at the wheel. Like me, literally a guy who's been speaking politics for years, always known as the outspoken guy. When this went down, I literally bought into it. Granted, it was only like 5 days, but I remember driving from Brentwood to Nashville, where the facility was, thinking, oh my God, what if I get pulled over? What are you going to arrest me for driving? Or like, you know, walking through downtown Nashville and they're like, the cops are like, put your mask on. I should be like, no, arrest me.
Yeah.
And I did. My wife put hers on. She's not as. I'm like, no, I'm not going to. You're going to have to arrest me, and I'm going to make a big case out of this. And I have enough money to sue everybody.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing. The problem is, I'm getting off track. The problem is none of this shit right now affects me. I don't notice $2 extra a gallon for gas.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I'm rich.
Yeah.
I don't notice any of this. I don't. I'm still going to drive my SUV.
Yeah.
I'm still going to live in my big ass house. Who's hurting are my employees. And we do the best we can. We can't absorb all the costs the government's giving. Like my employees, the people down the street, the checker at the grocery store, these people are hurting. The ruling class, they're fine.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Yeah.
So I actually see America making a big turnaround. And I see people like you running for Congress. I see Ian. I see all these people running for Congress who would never run. So I think what's going to happen is if you get a populist movement, and I love populism, whether it's Democrat or Republican, I like populism. And even when Bernie was getting when he was originally a populist, I'm like, it's kind of cool. Like these people believe in their stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's not so corporate. Even though Bernie's a sellout bitch.
Yeah.
I mean,
he definitely showed his true colors in the last 2 years.
The guy didn't have a job till he was 40 years old. The guy's a piece of shit. But like, I loved it though. I love the fact you get a group of people occupy Wall Street. Absolutely loved it. But what I see is a populist movement. And you see people, and they're going to come at you. The media is, because you're going to be loud. Because you're a fitness guy. Like we grunt in the gym. You own a Metroflex. You're gonna be loud.
Yeah.
You're gonna drop plates at Capitol Hill. So I think America is coming back to the people, and I think that what has happened the last 2 years is gonna have the opposite effect that the ruling class wanted to have, in that people have woken up. I have woken up. I have woken up, and just from a health and fitness standpoint, because I'm like, I know how HCU works. It's an ionophore, and the fact they lied about it on something. See, the thing is, when you catch them in a lie on something, you know, like one time I'm watching that show, the Storage Wars, Storage Lockers, and the guy literally bought an elliptical, which you get a used elliptical for like $200. He bought a shitty one, not a commercial, but this is a fucking home,
like a home gym one.
It wasn't commercial.
Yeah,
we all know equipment, right? We own gyms.
Yeah.
And he sold it for $750 on Venice Beach. I'm like, dude, that didn't happen. So that's when I knew that whole show was bullshit.
Yeah.
What do you see as the future of America? What do you think's going to happen after, let's say, 2022, 2024 and beyond?
I truly believe that people are going to take back control, and I tend to help that. And we do that with education. We do that with teaching people about the private. We were talking earlier about what it means to be in the private, what that really means, and it's about widespread education about what your constitutional rights are. So David Jose is a friend of mine. He's a constitutional genius.
Yeah.
And we've been reaching out and teaching state legislators all over the country, like for the last year. And we don't make it known. I don't really say names of who it was, or some of them have come out and they kind of outed us. State Senator Amanda Chase in Virginia was on Mike Lindell's symposium stage, and she was like, "Yeah, David Jose and Josh Barnett." We're like, "Shit," but because we were trying to just be quiet about it, because we don't want infiltrators that find out what we're doing and then try to block. It's what the deep state does.
So there is a deep state.
They throw stuff out there to block things. It's kind of like the CIA coined the word conspiracy. Yeah. They'll call you a conspiracist, trying to discredit you somehow. We hear that all the time. You're a conspiracy. Really?
I've been called
6 months
that
it came true, right? 6 months later,
I've never been wrong about something I subscribe. And I'm not claiming that we didn't land on the moon. My conspiracy theory is, why aren't we promoting health and fitness and telling people to get unfat? People get really mad when you say stuff like that. So my whole thing is, so there's a deep state. There's definitely a ruling class. Mitch McConnell, Pelosi, they work together. They don't want to lose their jobs.
And then you got the class above that. You got the Rockefellers, you got the money, the Soroses, you got the Bushes.
The Koch brothers?
Yeah, the Koch brothers. You got the money. You got this new world order we were talking about. Biden even said it 2 weeks ago. He literally said new world order.
He did.
Trudeau has said it. all these leaders have been saying it. Now, in America, we have elected servants, so I want people to distinguish. Because I never call them leaders. Like, oh, he's a great leader. I go, he's a servant. He works for me.
Yeah.
And you know, we need to start thinking differently. It's psychology. You know, it's how you approach people. Like, we put our elected servants on a pedestal, and I don't mind. I'm not saying don't treat them disrespectfully or say, hey, you know what, you know, yeah, the position you're in, it's, you know.
I think a few of them need to be treated disrespectfully.
But, well, there's a few. Don't get me wrong, and I will. I personally will.
Yeah.
But I know my role. So when I'm elected, I know I serve my people. I'm a servant to the people, and I'm a trustee to the trust indenture, which is the Constitution. And that's what people don't understand is I don't want you to put me on a pedestal. I'm one of you. I just happen to be here fighting for you now. And I understand the constitutional rights of the people, and I will defend it with everything I got. And we don't have that anymore. We have a handful of people that do that.
So how do you go? So you see what they did to MGT. I mean, and I've talked to her offline dozens of times. I'm a huge fan. I don't know if you like her or not.
Yeah. She's a gym owner too.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
CrossFit, kind of a gym, you know.
We'll
it's
accept
kind
it.
of, I'll give it to her.
I have a confession. I am a certified CrossFit trainer. There's something I don't always talk about. So here's the problem. You're going up against fossils who are powerful. McConnell, dude's never going to lose. He's going to die in office. Okay, Pelosi, I think she's already died twice. I don't know how the hell she's still alive. She's like 900 years old, right? Like, there's pictures of her old, like when JFK was in office, and she was like our age.
Yeah.
Okay, so my whole thing is, how do you, just a normal gym owner, how do you fight these people? The Koch brothers, Soros, all these evil people who will stop at nothing, including killing you and your family, I believe. How do we fight them?
Because there's more of us than them.
True.
And that, again, it comes back to education. When you educate, when David and I will do a webinar, and we'll have a couple hundred people on, right? And we're telling them stuff, and the people that are new, we're blowing their minds. Literally, their heads are spinning. When we sat down at these state legislators, told them the powers they had under the constitutional powers they had as a legislature, what they can do, but not only that, what the people's powers were. They were like, they couldn't believe what they were hearing, and they're like, and we always tell them, don't trust me, trust God. We're going to show you exactly where this is, so you can read it for yourself. You know, and when we do that, it's more impactful when somebody sees it with their own eyes, and they see we're not trying to blow smoke. Don't trust what I'm saying. Like lawyers will say so, like, trust me, I'm a lawyer. And you're like, really? Why don't you show me where that's at? And they can't show you, you know, because they're lying. Because lawyers lie. That's what they do best.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're lying. Not all of them. I got some friends that are lawyers, but they're, you know, a lot of them are, you know, that's what they do. And it's all about educating the masses. I've been saying it for years now. And when we do, and I know when we do, the people, like you said, are getting awake. They're waking up and they're learning the law. They're learning what their rights are, especially with everything that happened. But even the people that think they know what they're talking about don't really know. And that's what David and I are trying to do. We're trying to teach as many people as possible. And we're using whatever platform we have, but it's tough because we get the platform. Like, I'm booted off YouTube. I've been shadow banned on Facebook and Instagram so terribly. Like, people don't even, they had to literally type my entire name out and then maybe find me. You know, it's stuff like that. Now we got Truth Social, right?
I just got approved today. I just got let in today. I was on a waiting
I'm
list.
super happy about it because once we get enough people on there, we can you know, freely voice our opinion, you know, and educate people. Twitter, ironically, hasn't really, well, they took 30,000 from me, but I'm still like 80, 85,000, whatever now followers. But I used to be, I'd be over 100,000 easy. But if you say anything they don't like, they're just deplatform you.
Yeah.
So it's hard to teach people, you know, teach the masses when they're just gonna.
So one
pull the rug out from under you.
I think we have so much we could actually do another follow up remotely. So here's the deal. As far as Twitter is concerned, let's aim. So you're in Congress. You have section, what is it?
230.
Section 230. Yeah. What do we do? Do we do anything? Do we see if Truth can put up a fight? What do we do about what YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, where they're obviously not an open voice platform, they're obviously promoting their own agenda, which is left wing. No one can deny it.
Yeah.
No one can deny it. You could literally have a left wing person threaten to kill somebody and everything's okay, and then a right wing person.
Alec Baldwin's still on there.
Yeah. So, and then they kick literally the president of the United States off for January 6th, which I'd hate to say it. If that's an insurrection, we are fucked as a country. You had a bunch of unarmed boomers. It was stupid. I was not a fan of it. I think it was a bad choice.
I don't think anyone should have entered that Capitol, but even the ones that did, I mean, I'm sure there was some people out there that were breaking windows or doing something stupid, right? But there's a lot more evidence coming out, that the FBI was involved. Yeah. They were infiltrating. They were doing stuff.
Here's my thing.
There's so much we don't know yet.
I just don't go to things like that. If anybody's like, if they're like, hey, we're going to stand on the steps. Yay. Okay, good. Hey, it's like, hey, we're going to go in the building. We were just invited in. No, I'm good. I'm going to go get, I think it was one, I'm not going to say who it was. One of my buddies was there.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, are you okay? He's like, bro, I'm eating lunch in Virginia.
Yeah.
He's like, I got the fuck out of there because he's a lawyer.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you who it was. He's a good guy. You know him. But anyway, so what do you do about these YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, who obviously are not open free speech platforms?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Well, one thing we got to remember, and it's a whole different angle that we go at, and David and I have been working on this. We're probably going to let it out here soon because I'm going to use my campaign to help get it out.
Okay.
Now, we keep talking about 230, and there's something that we could do with Section 230, repeal 230, amend 230 or whatever, but it's more than just that. You can't be a private company. So there's no such thing as a private. You're either public or you're private. And what I mean by that is they could say they're private just because, like, for example, if you say I'm a private training facility, just because you're small and you only have limited people come in does not mean you're private, right? So there's a completely different thing. So they're acting in commerce. They're acting with under an S corp, LLC, or whatever they're acting under. They're not truly in the private. Mm-hmm. So they can't dictate and say who and who can't say or whatever, who can't be in here, who can't do whatever they want. So what we're going to do is expose that relationship with them, and they're publicly traded on top of it. But, we're going to expose that relationship to show the people that they are truly in the public realm, which means they need to be held accountable to what our Constitution says. And a freedom of speech is part of the Constitution, the last time I checked. And that's a way to hold them accountable. We're going to have a whole layout of this, like in detail, about what can be done. And it's not an angle that I've heard anyone in Congress talk about, any of the lawyers talk about, and the ones that do know probably won't say anything because they're afraid to get disbarred, which is a whole other issue. Again, just remember, you can't use things that you'd be able to do in the private. For example, the Boy Scouts of America is in the private or private association. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the power of being in the private. They said at one point in time, I don't want gay people in Boy Scouts. That's not what we believe in, and we don't want gay people here. And everybody's, oh my God, I can't believe you don't want gay people there. Well, guess what happened? They were deemed in the private, and they could decide what they want to do with their private association. If you're a member of that association, you're following the rules set up by that association. They're not in the public, where you'd be held accountable to discrimination, right? 1958 Alabama. This is a really strong example. You had the NAACP. The state of Alabama wanted the member list of the NAACP, and they said, "No, we're in a private. You're not going to know our member list. We're not going to give it to you." So they went to the state Supreme Court, 9-0. All white judges. Remember Alabama, 1958, 9-0 in favor of the NAACP, saying you're in a private. They can't interfere. So these are just two examples of being truly in the private and interference, and then again, tying you to commerce. When you're an LLC, an S corporate, and you're tied to commerce, the state can control you.
Interesting.
In Arizona, the governor tried shutting people down, right? Businesses, you're not essential, you're essential. It's like, who are you to tell me if I'm essential or not? So I had a real problem with that. So what we figured out, again, I moved my facility into the private as a private association. In Arizona, we have a statute, ARS 26317. The first part of that tells you the governor can cite you, fine you, do whatever he wants to you, basically. But the second part of that statute, the lawyers always seem to forget, which says if you're a private association or a member thereof, I'll just paraphrase, you can opt out of an emergency order if you so choose. Wow. So I simply moved my facility into the private, truly into the private as a private membership association, and said I decided to opt out of your stupid unconstitutional emergency order. And anybody that came in here signed up to be part of my private membership association. And we worked out with no masks, and we turned DMX and Metallica on, or whatever we wanted to listen to, and we did what we wanted.
And everybody died.
Yeah, and not one person died that I know of. So, you know, yeah, exactly. Maybe they died from Costco, maybe, you know, walking through. And it was one of those things where, you know, I was taught by David the power of the private and what that really means between the public and the private and persons and people in the Constitution. Words matter. And when you understand the differences, and we can go about it later and really show you.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna see the world in a whole new lens. You really will, because you're gonna see what we can do as a people. And what I mean by that is, this also applies to anything that has to do with government.
That's fascinating.
And it's not sovereign citizen crap. That's another thing that people try to throw out. You're a sovereign citizen. I'm reading the Constitution. What I'm reading what the Constitution says. And if you consider that a sovereign citizen, then so be it. But all I know is I'll call it a constitutionalist, and this is what it says. And they don't like hearing this stuff. You know, they don't like hearing it
because it takes away their power.
Yes.
But there's so many more topics. I say we reconvene in like a week or two.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, if you're in the Arizona, I want you to share this video because I know all y'all have people who are in Arizona. Look, man, he has my support. I can't vote for you, but I do have. Guess who's running in my district? Robbie Starbuck.
Yes, I like Robbie.
I have another good bro.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He came to our charity boxing event. He's been to our gym multiple times. He's basically a non-swole bro, but we'll accept him in the swole.
We're gonna have to you have to bulk him up a little bit.
We're gonna have to get him on some stuff, man. And once you guys legalize it. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching this Lobliner Lowdown. Where can they find you?
BarnettForAZ.com, at BarnettForAZ on Twitter and Instagram. Josh Barnett for Congress on Facebook. I'm Barnett for AZ. So, you know, hit me up on any of those social media sites if you need anything.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time.